smoking pot. I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about you. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, just you.
I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, thinking about you.
I'm driving along, I'm singing a song, and I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, I drank a six-pack, I took my pants off, oh, I love you, I love you,
I'm smoking pot.
Hey, there we go. It's the 8 o'clock hour, and it's, what is today? It's September 14th, and it's getting cold. It's 60 degrees tonight, I think they said. It's something like that. And welcome to Stump The Joke Men. My name is John Peasy, and I can't wait to get started with this right away because tonight we have a very special theme. It's Crotch Hair Bonanza, which was made up by Jackie the Joke Man, which is a wonderful, beautiful, funny name. And welcome, everybody. And thanks for coming out. And I got to tell you, this is exciting to me, too, because I don't know if you guys haven't watched the show recently, Jackie's changing. He's looking like Peter Gabriel. So let's bring him in there. We have to stump how many hairs are on his face and you win a prize. Here he is, the funny Jackie the Joke Man Martling. Come on in. There you are.
Yeah, I got a few hairs.
You're looking good.
I don't know, people seem to like, it's funny because, we're all trapped. So then you go out and, you're in the supermarket or somewhere and you see somebody you haven't seen in a month or two.
Yeah.
And like they jump and because I completely forget that I got this crap on my face. I'm like, whoa, who are you? Like, wow.
I think it looks pretty good, Jackie. It makes you look like you should be teaching humor. You should teach us dick jokes.
Yeah, it's very funny. I just did David Feldman before, and he said it was the 94th call. I've done 94 calls with him between 8, 10, 12, 14 minutes each. No repeated jokes, and he couldn't believe it. And today was a great one, too. And
a lot of people haven't heard those, and I know you sent them to me, and they're really great. They're always bang, bang. It's like the classic Henny Youngman or the classic. They're just fast and they're moving.
But they're about to get loaded onto Oleo Records. We're going to put them up somewhere, and once people get them, they'll be thrilled. So you're working like crazy. You're all over the place.
I'm all over the place. I'm COVID-free and all over the place.
Wow.
It's all nutty. Good. This has been a strange time for me. And honestly, I think people are much more appreciative for a short time anyway. They're more
because you're coming out and making the effort. And
no, I think they're more appreciative because lately I noticed if you do a show with somebody, they actually are excited and can't wait because they've been contained and trapped for a long time. And New Jersey opened up here last Friday with 25% allowable in restaurants. So now people are, and Uncle Vinny's opened up, the comedy club opened up, I understand, this weekend. And New York is opening up September 30th. So anything in between March and now has been just like potpourri. Somebody's in their yard or under a tent.
It's very funny because I saw some kind of tweet or something about Uncle Vinny's, and I was wondering if it was something he did outside on the sidewalk. But
he did.
I don't know how they, when they say 25% capacity, who's going to,
Agreed. It's unsustainable for any business.
But no, but I'm saying who who counts, who puts the rules, who locks it down. It's all pretty crazy.
The COVID police. The COVID police come around. Imagine that. Now they're talking about Halloween, whether or not kids should go trick or treating. Imagine that the police coming over. Hey, you and that witch mask, come over here. I want to talk to you.
And then it turns out the guy that's telling them to stop is a kid dressed as a cop.
So look, tonight's theme. First of all, what's going on with you all this week, Jackie? What's been happening with you? Last week we were out. I was out busy. What are you up to this last week or so?
Just really enjoying myself. It was like the last real good week of swimming and hanging out, and my niece was over with the twins and my sister and the whole gang. I did a whole nother round. I did my 4th month of jokes. I'm on the air once a day in Phoenix. Of all the places in the country,
Phoenix.
I'm on in Phoenix, Arizona, 1 joke a day. And it was the greatest idea. I know if I told you, I told the guy, listen, here's how we should do it. You got to pay me, and I'll do 1 joke per day. And that way people know it's going to be 1 joke. So if they hear it, they know there's not more coming that they have to try and remember. So all I got to do is try and remember the one that they hear. It's Jackie's 420 joke, of course.
The one you
marijuana time, and 1 joke a day, Monday through Friday at 420, and it's popular as hell out there. I just did the 4th
That's
month,
great.
and I'm going to be going out there, and it's a built-in sellout. However many shows, because I'm their local guy now,
Now, do you think when you're doing 1 joke, you put a lot of attention on it as opposed to just a bunch of jokes?
No, I just do anything, sometimes a one-liner, something stupid, something ridiculous, something very short, something more involved. Yeah, nobody knows what they're getting,
I love it.
I put the stupidest stuff. This week is the 50th anniversary of Saran Wrap.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's the 52nd anniversary, but it took 2 years to get the roll started. That's the kind of stupid stuff, But I love it.
Stupid stuff. Now, what made you come up with this theme tonight? This is a funny theme.
Because it's frustrating. Because as a joke teller over the decades, things go away. My favorite joke that I really can't tell anymore. You can tell it and take your chances, but it's old Mr. Ravelli is sitting on the stoop in Brooklyn, barbecuing a chicken on a manual rotisserie.
Right.
And a hippie comes by and he says, "Hey man, the music stopped and your monkey's on fire." Okay.
Why can't you tell
that joke? What? Because nobody knows what a manual rotisserie is. Nobody knows that an organ grinder, an old Italian organ grinder, is grinding the music, and that the monkey is the one collecting. There's way too much information to know, and that's what's happening with pubic hair.
And also what's happening with hippies. When you say a hippie, hey man, that's
the original joke, a beatnik. That's actually the newer version. Saying hippie is the newer version. A beatnik comes walking along. That's probably before your time.
No, I grew up as a kid. I remember hearing about the beatniks and seeing them in television. Hey, I was thinking about this today because when this comes to crotch jokes, I thought this would be. I have some silly, stupid crotch jokes. I mean, some silly, simple ones. But then I started thinking about nasty ones. And this is the first nasty one I was thinking about. And this is I remember a long time ago. People never believe me when I tell them I got my first pubic hair when I was in 8th grade. But I did. It was Father O'Hanlon, and it was stuck in my teeth.
That's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
The guy says to the girl, "How much?" She says, $100. He says, I can't afford $100. She says, "How much you got?" He says, 15. She says, "Well, for $15, I'll let you look at it."
Okay.
It's all right. So they go in the alleyway, and she pulls down her panties and lifts up her skirt, and he bends over to look at her twat, and he lights his lighter. He goes, "Wow, look at your pubic hair. It's bright blonde and it's sparkling. It's gorgeous. Wow." And she says, "Oh, thank you." He says, "Can I ask you a personal question?" She says, "Sure." He says, "Can you piss through all that hair?" She says, "Of course." He says, "Well, You better start. You're on fire.
Fire.
This is the greatest crotch joke.
It's a good crotch joke. I forgot that one. That's like something that I forgot all about. I love a crotch. How often do we do crotch jokes, huh?
Never. Why is pubic hair curly?
Why is pubic hair how come?
So it won't poke you in the eye. They never get old. They never get old. But it's going away.
No, it's not going away. It's not. Listen, I did a couple of gigs.
The girls are shaving, the girls are shaving. And I don't like that. You know what? I'm a fan of the bush.
Fan of the bush.
I like the bush. I don't even mind a big catcher's mitt. I'd rather have it like a nice landing strip, but I'd rather have a catcher's mitt than a 3-year-old,
Yeah, well, if that's the way you look at a shaved one, if that's up to you. But yeah, this is
I don't like it looking like a sideways package of hot dogs,
Hey, speaking of which, what's got 100 legs and 4 pubic hairs?
The front row at
Justin Bieber concert.
Yeah, I don't know who the local.
Yeah, you just stick in a name, whoever you want is the next person in line over there. How about this, Jackie? I found my first gray pubic hair today. I was shocked, and so was everyone else on the airplane. That's stupid.
So why is the hair on your head called Mo?
Mo.
And the hair under your arms called Larry.
Mo, Larry. Because something to do with curly. I don't know.
Pubic hair is curly.
I like it. Okay. I knew it was going there somewhere. Hey, let me ask you a question. I had some pictures. Do you mind if I pull one up real quick?
My girlfriend said I had to trim my pubic hair. She said when I got a hard on, it looked like Pinocchio joined the Taliban.
Oh, that's brilliant. You know why I like that? Because as a ventriloquist with the dummy, that's like a perfect line for the dummy. There you go. Speaking of which, I was trying to tell you before we came on the air today. So I'm doing this gig and I'm playing, and I have this music on a SD with everywhere I go. So I have even the show music. And just before the show, I hit this music, and I hit it the other day, and the people are like laughing their balls off before the show, and they're like laughing, and they start clapping, and everyone's saying, "Where'd you get?" And I'm telling Jackie the Joke Man, this is his song of his show, and like, that's hilarious, that's wonderful, that's great. And for some reason, when I hear that, it makes me just laugh. I just start laughing. I can't help it.
It's so much fun, and you know the whole story of the whole thing, right?
No, I do not. No.
You know what?
I smell a story coming on.
Yeah, it's talk to people for 5 seconds.
Okay, 5 seconds. I'll tell a quick joke. While you're looking that up, actually, here's a great one. I have a bunch of long ones. I got a bunch of short ones.
Tell a nice long one.
All right, nice long one. So this one's a Jewish one, actually, which I kind of like. So a rabbi steps up to the urinal, and as he begins to urinate, he hears a voice next to him, and the voice says, "My friend, you are a Jew." He's surprised, and he's like, "Okay, you're some kind of genius. You see my clothing, my crotch. You figure I'm a Jew, so please let me finish in peace." And then the voice says, "Not only are you a Jew, but you're a Russian Jew." And the rabbi goes, "Okay, so you hear my accent. You put 2 and 2 together. I implore you, please leave me alone." And then the voice goes, "Not only are you Russian Jew, but you're from Minsk." And he goes, "All right. You see, you're some kind of genius. You picked up my Minsk accent, but for the love of God, please leave me alone." And he goes, "Not only are you a Russian Jew from Minsk, but you studied under Rabbi Mishnah." And the rabbi's eyes go, "Rabbi Mishnah, like a father to me. He taught me the Torah. How do you know such things?" He goes, "Rabbi Mishnah is very old, and his eyesight is very poor. And on the 8th day, he often cuts with a little slight to the left. And the whole time you're pissing on my shoe." It's a long.
That's Rabbi. He cuts on a bias.
It's a long way to go, but I like that joke.
That's great. That's great.
It's long. Speaking of which, I think let me put this up into the chat here. We have a bunch of people. We have a bunch of people up there watching, and I see Charlie Miller, who wasn't here last week. Charlie Miller, the stoic Charlie Miller. I'm going to give him a link right now to stick up there. And here it is, Charlie Miller, putting this inside. And if anybody wants to tell a joke, feel free to come in and say hello and tell us a joke. If you stump us, we'll send you something in the mail, like a, I don't know, an Andy doll or something, or a T-shirt or whatever. Let's go. I'm going to put this in there right now for you guys. There's the link to come in if you like. Come on in, say hello, and tell us a joke, please. What are you looking up, Jackie? What is it?
All right, I sent you 2 links. I don't know if you can open them up, but
I can open them up as long as you tell a long joke.
Well, stop me if I've told you this already. Where that song it's called "And I'm Thinking About You."
And I'm thinking about you. Yeah.
And I put out an album about 10 years ago, but I never had any intention to going back there. They're all songs from the 70s when I was in a band. But I started hanging around with Les Paul and the guys in his band, and we're really good friends. And I started to become a pot-smoking pal of Les Paul's lead guitar player, which sounds kind of odd, but Frank is one of the most phenomenal guitar players in the world. And I started getting up on stage with Les Paul, and then after a couple of weeks, I went up to Frank and said, "Hey, does it piss you guys off? You guys are all such world-class musicians to have some idiot up there telling jokes." He said, No. We live for you coming up there with all your energy. Wow. And then a couple of weeks later, I said, "Listen, as long as I'm getting to know you, do you smoke pot?" And he goes, "Stop, So I handed him a big manila envelope full of Joke Land pot, and he was over the moon. So however long later, I was driving on the expressway.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend, I won't name her, but that's interesting too, who lives in Las Vegas, or she lived in Las Vegas. And it was about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night, and I was on my way into the city, and I knew I wasn't going to be in my apartment for at least 45 minutes. So it's always fun to talk to her on the phone. So I have my bowl, and I'm smoking a bowl of pot. So, of course, I have the Bluetooth phone, so I don't to freeze up my hand so I can smoke pot. And
Right.
I dial her, and I get her answering machine. I go, "Oh, Jay, God damn it, I got some time for once, and we could actually talk for a while, and catch up." And oh well, what can I tell you? But at any rate, I'm smoking pot. Got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you.
That's how it happened.
And I hung up. And I went, "Wait a minute. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out. I'm thinking about you." And I actually see the people in the cars on either side are looking at me like I'm nuts. So I got a micro cassette recorder, and I click it on record. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you. I'm driving along, singing a song. I got my dick out, thinking about you, and I'm laughing the whole time. Okay. That's one of the files I sent you.
You did not tell me this before, ever. No.
I get to my apartment, and the song is coming out of my ears, right?
Yeah.
So I take my Canon camera that has a video setting, and I put it on record.
Right.
I play the micro cassette tape.
Right.
So I'm singing on the micro cassette tape. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out. And while that's playing, I'm lighting a joint.
Right.
And I record this little piece of video. And so within 10 minutes, within 20 minutes of the actual first idea going through my head, I have these 2 little videos. And I just sent you the original MP3 from the car and the original little piece of AVI video. And then I call up my friend Frank. And I said, "Frank,
what don't you catalog? What don't you catalog? You catalog everything."
It was just so natural. And I said, "Frank, I just wrote either the world's greatest song or the world's worst song. I want to send it to you." He said, "Well, send it to me." So I sent him the MP3 that I just sent you.
Okay.
And he called me back. He said, "That's the funniest fucking thing in the world. We got to make a record out of it." And we got together with him and his guys, and we started writing that song and putting it together. And when, I came up with thousands of verses for it, and we finally honed them down. And he said, "Jackie, this is so much fun. We should make an album. Have you got any other songs?" I said, "Well, I just happen to have 100 at home." And then they came out to Bayville, and we made my record Happy Endings, and that was the genesis of it. But you gotta play. See if you can get those.
I do. I have it right here, and I'm going to play it. But first, there is the wonderful stoic Charlie Fisher.
Ah,
that hair never changes on that guy. Look at him.
Jesus Christ.
Here it is. All right, I'm going to show you guys real quick. You ready?
I wonder if after the show's over, if he ever moves from that couch, or is he still there just waiting for next week? You know?
This is the only place my wife will let me watch the show.
I understand.
Speaking of pubic hairs, all right, I'm going to pull this right up real quick. I'll try to see if I could share the screen.
Now, play the MP3 first.
Okay, here it is, the MP3 first, and here it comes. This is the MP3.
I'm smoking Tom. I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, just you. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out.
You hear the cars?
You're a crazy person.
I'm driving along. I'm singing a song. And I got my dick out. Thinking about you. I didn't call. Lay it on. Thinking about you. Just you. I'm smoking pot.
So that's it's not playing exactly right because it's lagging, but that's the idea. So then I went home and played that tape and recorded the other one.
Now I do have another one here. This is actually looks like it's a video.
Yes.
Okay, I got it right here.
This is in my apartment 10 minutes later.
By the way, I'm so happy that I brought this up tonight because I didn't know about this.
I thought I had told you this 10,000 times.
No, and I love this song. I think it makes me laugh every single time I hear it. And here is here you are somewhere, I guess.
In my apartment.
Okay. That's in the Manhattan. Okay.
I'm smoking Tom. I got my dick out. And I'm thinking about you. Just you. I'm smoking Tom. I got my dick out. And thinking about you. And thinking about you. I'm driving along.
You're a lunatic. You're a lunatic. Let me tell you what's so funny about this is that as I'm watching this, I'm laughing because you know something. It's like you're inspired by dick jokes and smoking pot, and it's just so funny that you actually have inspiration and in a moment and just pull it out and stick it in there like that. That's hilarious, and that's what inspiration is, isn't it?
There was so many. We're sitting there and I'm writing the verses as we're going along, and all of a sudden, and I had this on tape too because we had tape going the whole time we were creating it. And I said, you guys, it's a template. It's ingesting an intoxicant, something sexual, and then something romantic. I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you. I took some lewds. I peed on a lamppost, and I miss you. If you listen to the song, every line is 1, 2, 3. Column A, column B, column C.
And the melody is simplistic to put it together to, but what's funny is that it's the thinking behind it is hilarious. That's great. I'm so glad I brought this up. By the way, again, this is going up in the air forever. It stays there forever. Somebody never. There you go. There's like another one of those little Jackie tidbits nobody ever find out. That's great.
Oh, and the somebody went to the trouble of taking the song and putting it on YouTube with all kinds of pictures and stuff. Me and Ian originally did a video with it, and it was me standing in front of like a green screen in front of all kinds of marijuana leaves and everything. But it just looks that look. It's still up there somewhere, but it looks so stupid.
That's great.
But it doesn't matter. I just love the fact it's up there, and a lot of people. People are like, who is that? And that's not Jackie singing. And where'd they get it? And he doesn't play guitar. I never said I was playing the guitar, but it is a classic, and people go nuts to it.
I love it. And I played it the other night, and people are like laughing, like, where the hell did you get that? Who wrote that? And I'm like, Jackie Joke Man. They're like, get out of here. And like, I remember that guy. People don't even know it. It's just funny.
And it is, they get not mad at me, but people get freaked out when I tell them it is a love song. It's to a girl. I'm thinking about you. I love you. I'm thinking about you. You know, I took a shit and I'm thinking about you. And I threw up and I'm thinking about you. And I took some acid and I'm thinking about you. And it's like, it's just silly.
It's so silly. And it's so funny. I just see Charlie sitting there smiling the whole time. It's like, that's hilarious. Hey, all right, let's go back to the crotch jokes. Now, by the way, a classic crotch joke is my wife's pubic hair is like parsley. Why?
I push it to the side before I eat it. I actually had that on my list. So a guy's in Kansas City and he needs a job. So he goes to the local workplace, you know, the local employment place. And he sees there's a card tacked to the wall. It said needed gynecologist assistant local. And he calls and says, what does this entail? And the girl says, well, what you have to do is you prepare the girls to see the gynecologist. You put them up on a table and then you gently soap and wash their genital area.
Nice.
And then take a razor and gently shave off all their pubic hair and then rub oils into it to prepare them for the gynecologist.
Okay.
And he says, well, it sounds good. She goes, okay, well, go to Wichita and we'll see what we can do for you. He says, what do you mean Wichita? You said it was a local job. She says, yeah, but that's where the end of the line is.
Everybody wants the job of shaving and massaging the whole thing.
Wants to do that.
That is a great joke. That's a classic joke too. Isn't it a classic kind of joke, do you think?
You know the ones that go, the gynecologist comes home from work and his wife says, are you tired? He says, I'm bushed.
I'm pushed. Yeah, class. What does an old lady's crotch taste like?
Depends.
Bingo. Yeah, of course.
So the husband's ignoring the wife. So she takes off her panties and goes and sits on the couch in the living room directly across from him and lifts up her dress a little bit and spreads her legs. He looks over and says, are you wearing any panties? She says, no. He says, thank God, I thought you were sitting on the cat.
I never heard that. That's great. I never heard that. That's awesome. I never heard that joke before. I didn't see it coming either. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Classic to you, new to me. You see, and you always tell me there's no such thing as an old joke. If you didn't,
here's a reasonably new one. Nothing to do with crotch. A guy in the Florida Keys is on his deathbed. So his family and his lawyer is gathered around him. And he says, Jason, my oldest boy, I want you to take the south side of Broadway, all 6 blocks.
Okay.
And Janice, my dear, dear daughter, I want you to have the apartment complex on the south side of town. And Christopher, my youngest boy, I love you. I want you to have the whole end of Johnson Boulevard all the way around the cul-de-sac. And my dear wife, Sarah, I want you should have Miami Towers, the whole 4 buildings of Miami Towers. Oh! And he dies. And the lawyer turns to the wife and says, he must have been brilliant. He must have been such a shrewd businessman to have so much property. She says, what are you talking? The asshole had a paper route.
It's a great joke. It's a great joke.
A clean joke, and
it's a clean joke, and it's not a crotch joke, but it's still funny. It's very funny.
Very funny.
How about I get really embarrassed when my dog sniffs people's crotches. You know why? because he's a Chihuahua and I have to lift him up.
I like that.
All right, there you go. That's a 402 joke right there. What does Charlie think of that? He's
We will
happy.
take that. We will take that. So the guy goes to the dentist, and the dentist says, "You 69 with your wife before you came today, didn't you?" He says, "Yeah, how could you tell?" I said, "Pubic hair in my teeth?" He says, "No." He says, "And how could you tell?" I said, "You got shit on your nose."
Yucky.
Well, do a picture. Do a picture. What do we
I have a couple of pictures. I have a load of pictures here tonight, but I don't know how many we can get through. But real quickly, here's this one's interesting. There you go. Boom. All-Star Comedy Review. Look how that picture looks. All like that picture looks. It looks like you were smoking pot when you shoot.
There's a place here in Bayville called the Crescent Beach Club, which was built where this place used to be. It was Reinhardt's, a famous Bayville bar, wooden bar that was there forever. And one of the very first comedy shows on Long Island, I did Thursday nights at Reinhardt's in Bayville. And the people would come, the comedians would come from Manhattan in the snow in the winter.
Really?
I don't think I had Seinfeld, but I had like Joe Bolster, Rick Overton, Carol Leifer, Paul Reiser, plus all the New York, all the Long Island guys, because I paid them decently. I think I was getting like $250 for the show, so I could give everybody $50, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot more than doing $5 a set. And they'd come out to Bayville and they get drunk and they get high and they get laid and then try and drive home along Shore Road. And that beautiful backdrop was drawn by the same girl that drew all the cartoons that are all over my place. She did the roast cartoons and the Jackie cartoons. And
who is this girl? Who is she?
Her name was Linda Romano. She was great. Her sister Susan's still floating around. And she just loved the comics, and she used to make us handmade T-shirts and everything. And that was so long ago. I had a old crappy amplifier that went through a couple of speakers, and I put up that was actually a sheet that I hung up a sheet. But the shows were great, and people went off the wall. And then I went to Florida and got invited to go on a Windjammer barefoot cruise because the guy that owned the place, Captain Michael Burke, if you
never
Google Windjammer barefoot cruises, they went out of Nassau in the Bahamas because they couldn't go out of Miami because they weren't sanctioned by the Coast Guard. Like supposedly people disappeared and the Jamaicans robbed the boats and people died, but who knows? But I met a guy at a party and he said, "My boss would love you." I gave him a couple albums. He took one to Michael Burke and they wrote and said, "Come and sail anytime." So I went from, this is a famous story. I was supposed to go on the boat and I had been in Fort Lauderdale Comic Strip for 2 weeks with Jenny Jones. You know who that is?
Great comic, great stand. Yeah, she had her own television show. She was managed by the guy that handled David Copperfield. She
was just starting. She had been in Las Vegas. She was a drummer in a band. She sang backup for Wayne Newton and everything.
Great smile.
And she came out and she was on the road for 2 weeks with Joe Bolster and John Heyman. And they completely shut her out, like He-Man Woman's Hater Club, because they
really
were the kind of guys that never got girls and didn't know what to say. So
and she's a beautiful girl.
She all of a sudden, I show up in Fort Lauderdale and it's those three. And here's a beautiful girl, and you know me. Of course, I'm going to treat her like a queen, and she loved me. And we went walking, and then Bolster and Heyman said, "Where you going?" I said, "We're going to go rent a car." He said, "How the fuck are you going to rent a car? You don't have a credit card." I said, "I got my mouth." So me and Jenny walked down Route 1 and came to this place, Clem's Rent-A-Car. Started with a K. Clem's Rent-A-Car. I walked in, and I said, "Clem." And he looked exactly like you'd imagine a Clem
in Florida.
I said, "Listen, I don't have a credit card, but there's a new comedy club in town, and none of the comedians have credit cards. But if you want to stick your nose out. You'll make a lot of money because these guys are all going to always need a car. And he said, I'll take a chance on you. He took a chance on me. And me and Jenny drove right to Fort Lauderdale Beach. And we went swimming in our underwear. And we came back to the comic strip with the car. And Bolster and Heyman almost shit themselves. So we have a great time for 2 weeks. And I didn't try anything with her because I didn't, you know, it was such close quarters. Plus, she slept with a gun under her pillow.
Did she really?
So and we were pals. And I'm supposed to leave to go on the boat. And we had to go make a phone call somewhere. And we went to John, this is not believable. We went to a phone booth. And she's calling her father in Tampa because she's supposed to go visit him. And she said, are you going to come with me? And I'm like, no, what do you mean come with you? I'm going on a Windjammer Barefoot cruise. She said, oh, don't you want to come and meet my father? And all of a sudden I realized she liked me. She had never let on. And I'm like, no, you never.
Like you were leading her along, and then you're like, whatever.
But yeah, and she had no way to know that I was going on a Windjammer Barefoot cruise because it never would have been, Jackie, what are you doing when we're done? You know, it wasn't that kind of thing. John, she was crying in the phone booth like a movie. And I just couldn't fucking believe it. And then, we left off and I went on this Windjammer Barefoot cruise. I walk onto the cruise and the first thing the mate says to me is, Jackie Martling, your drinks are with the captain. Captain Burke had told them to give me all my drinks for free, knowing fucking well that I'll be a riot on that boat walking around.
Right,
drunk,
drinking heavily.
And all the Windjammer boats, this was the Yankee Clipper, the Yankee Trader, and it was smaller than most boats. I don't know how many people, but it was really small. And I'll tell you, you don't realize how small a boat is till you fuck somebody the first night. Because every time you turn around for the next week, there she is, But we have so much fun, and the crew likes me so much that they shanghaied me. They got me drunk at the end of the week. At the end of the week, they got me drunk and held me over. So I stayed a second week.
2 weeks on a boat. Oh my God.
Well, but you're going in and out of every island, every cay. They're called cays down there. And I fell in love with this unbelievable British girl. It was crazy. But I finally came home to JFK, and my friend Red picked me up at the airport.
Red, the guy who died.
No.
Comedian Red? Okay.
No. This is Red McCready. He used to work the door at the East Side. He's my friend from forever.
Okay. So wasn't Jenny a really good stand-up? I remember watching her like in the 80s on like Comedy Tonight. Or
no, she was fun, but
she was a great comic.
But that's way off topic.
Yeah,
we'll come back there. So I get off the plane and I say, Red, because he's kind of my assistant, but he's an idiot, right. But he helped me out. And I said, just tell me the worst news. And he says, we lost Reinhardt's, which is what that picture is with the sheet and everything. And I said, what do you mean? We've been selling the place out for months. He said, you insulted the mayor. What had happened was the way the room was set up, there was a false wall that separated the huge room in half. And there was a door in the false wall. And I guess as I was starting the show, I was always drunk. As I started the show, the door opened up and they had a meeting of the trustees of Bayville, and they came walking out, and I looked over and the mayor was bald. And I said, look at, and I didn't know who the hell was who. I was loaded. I looked over and said, look at that. That guy's got a bald forehead from doing U-turns under the sheets. And I come home and we lost, and that was the end of Reinhardt's, and that was that. And meanwhile, me and Jenny, we never were in touch with each other or anything. Years later, she called the show, and
really?
To promote whatever, and how it's Jackie's been telling us for years some bullcrap story that he knew you from the old days. She said, nobody on the road was ever as nice to me as Jackie was. He's the greatest guy I met on the road. And
See?
And Howard couldn't say anything because it was live on the air.
And I think today she does a cooking show, if I remember correctly.
My girlfriend Barbara watches old pieces
of Jane Jones shows.
Jenny Jones baking bread, and
Yeah.
she was a great gal. She was terrific.
She seems like a really great
I
girl.
don't think I ever even kissed her. Maybe I kissed her in the phone booth, but I don't think I even kissed her in the phone booth. But what a wild story,
It's bizarro. Hey, I have somebody here.
I've sent you that picture. You've got a picture of me,
I
her,
think I have a picture.
David Say, Joe Bolster, Joe Mullen.
Wow, as you mentioned these names, I mean, I grew up watching these people.
Right.
Hey, there's a guy here tonight. And let's see. Hey, is that Mitch Miller with you? Yes, it is. Joey Pizzella. So there's a guy named Willie.
You know how old you have to know who Mitch Miller had the very first color television program
Get
at
at it.
9:30 on a Monday night.
What was it called?
Sing Along with Mitch. When I was a kid, I went up to where Sue Reed was babysitting, because the place where she was babysitting had a color TV. There were probably 3 of them on Long Island, and this is the rich section. And that's the first time I ever made out with anybody with Sue Reed.
Sue Reed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I could say I was up there for the color TV, but I was up there for the pussy.
I would not doubt it. I would not doubt it. As a matter of fact,
the pussy being a peck on the lips.
Yeah, I feel like I got one right in front of me right now. I got a gray one, old one. Hey, somebody's here in the comments. Not in the comments. They want to come on and tell a joke. See if you can stump. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Here is the Willie Side is his name. Hey, Willie, look at this. He's got a mask and all. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I had to protect my anonymity. Can you hear me?
From what? What are you, a convict? Are you protesting? BLM? What's happening out there with you?
All of the above.
Okay.
Put the stupid mask over your eyes and uncover your mouth so we can understand you.
There you go. Oh, no, actually, speaking of that, there's another pussy. See that? There's a dark one. All right, Willie, go ahead. What we got the joke, please. Heads up.
Okay, I stole it from another comedian because I'm not good enough to come up with something to stump the joke man.
Like every other comic.
Yes, exactly. What do you call, what do you call it when you cross Sir Elton John with a polar bear?
Polar bear.
A Klondike.
I don't know either, but you better keep it away from your ass.
Okay. What kind?
Joke.
It's okay. It's all right.
All right, Jackie face.
Willie, put the mask over your whole face. I don't know either, but keep it away.
One thing about these men. Good job, Willie. One thing about these, and even if you stole the joke from the, good job. Give him.
No, you didn't steal it. Nobody else would be telling that joke.
Where are you, Willie? By the way, where are you right now?
I'm in California, busily inhaling fire smoke.
Oh wow!
Now, John, you know how to catch a polar bear, right?
How do you catch a polar bear, Jackie?
Well, what you do is you cut a hole in the ice with a saw, and then you take a can of peas and put the peas around the rim of the hole. And when the polar bear comes up to take a pee, you kick him in the ice hole. Rip Taylor called me up and said, Jackie, I'm in the middle of nowhere in Canada. I need a joke. And I said, well, the only joke that I could think that you could even imagine using up there. And I told him that joke, and he said, of course I know that joke. He says, I opened with it. I said, but you can't really tell that there. It was probably written there. He says, nobody in Canada knows that joke, which is just so funny, You figure it's a polar bear ice joke,
Willie, just put instant message me. We'll send you something to California.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
Craig Nyers complained to my girlfriend that he never got a T-shirt. Did he ever ask you for a T-shirt?
Send him the T-shirt. What can we tell him? He loves
Of course I'd ask him for a T-shirt. Barbara said, what's your address? And he wrote back, never mind.
Oh, he's seen it there.
No, people would rather whine. They don't want to wear my T-shirt. They'd rather whine.
He's probably breaking your chops. He's a great guy.
Of course he is.
Willie, instant message me, Willie, and we'll send you something.
We'll send you Charlie Fisher.
Yeah, Charlie Fisher. Thank you. And there is the stoic Charlie Fisher tonight, hanging out, chilling it out. Oh man, Jackie's gone. Oh shit! I lost Jackie.
Hi, this is Jackie the Joke Man. Hey, there's a two holes to a bar. Oh, what?
There you go. Go ahead, Willie. Go.
Where'd you go?
Oh no, I was just trying to vamp.
We're back. Thank you, Willie.
Where's
By the way,
Kevin Apple?
I hope everything works out well for your smoke inhalation in California.
Yeah, good luck. Jeez.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's all about inhaling the right kind of smoke.
There you go.
I
Like it.
agree.
Hey, Jack, and there's Joe. I think I'm sorry. I think I dropped you instead of him. Is what happened.
Oh, way to go.
Hey, shit happens. So when I was a kid,
What's the last sound a pubic hair makes before it hits the ground?
the last sound a pubic hair makes before it hits the ground. Got me. Oh, I love it. I just love you. Hey, I don't know if this is it's kind of a country. So there's a genie, and this guy picks up the bottle. Genie comes out, and he goes, the genie goes, I will grant you 2 wishes. The guy goes, 2? I always get 3, right? And he goes, look in your crotch. And he goes, damn, my dick is huge. He goes, I've been doing this for centuries. I know my business.
That's great. Oh,
You didn't know it. So that's good. I'm happy.
You know, there's such a good joke that I can't remember. The guy says to the genie, his first wish is, he says, I want to know what goes on in a woman's mind. Next thing he knows, he's so crazed. He says to the genie, for my next wish, I want you to completely eliminate what you just put into my mind. And you know what? That's why I can't remember this. The guy runs in a genie, and the genie says, all right, what is your third wish? He says, what do you mean my third wish? He says, you already had 2 wishes.
It's almost the same kind of a joke.
He says, what are you talking about? He says, well, at any rate, for my wish, I want to know what goes on in a woman's mind. And the genie says, that was your first wish.
That was your first wish.
The whole point being is you don't want to know that shit, you know.
You see, your mind still works faster than mine, because that would have took me longer to formulate all of that. Here, this guy, Mitch Gray, just said, what's the difference between an old prostitute and a young one?
Vaseline and Polygrip.
You see, you got them all in your head. You can't get you. Here's a classic one, Jackie. You know this. A little girl realizes she has hair growing between her legs, and she gets worried. She goes, Mom, what's that over here? And she goes, that's hair that's grown. It's called your monkey. And she goes, be proud. Your monkey hair is grown. And she smiles. And at dinner, she tells her sister, my monkey hair is grown. And her sister says, yeah, well, that's nothing. Mine always eating bananas. You know that joke.
Oh, no, I never.
Oh, come on. It's like I was 8 years old.
It's so silly. It's just great.
It's silly, but I was like an 8-year-old. I remember as a kid telling that joke.
You know, the little girl is getting examined by the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And she pulls down her pants, and she says, Doctor, I'm really worried. Because, look, there's hair down here. He says, well, that's nothing. In fact, I have hair down there too. And he pulls down his pants and shows her. And she looks at his cock and she says, when am I going to get that? He says, as soon as I lock the door.
Oh, that one's rough now. How about, so my girlfriend said to me, I have a special haircut as it's Valentine's Day, and you know what that means. And I said, yeah, the hair drain is blocked again.
So the bartender says to the young couple sitting at the bar, he says, you know what you two have in common? Anal sex makes your whole week.
Okay. Ooh. The stoic Charlie Fisher down there.
The guy says to his ex-wife, you want to fuck? She says, over my dead body. He says, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jack, let me pull up another one of these pictures real quick. Now, there's 2 things I want to talk about here.
Who
Who is that?
There's a guy in California.
That's a guy?
Rick Roberts, who
Uh-huh.
was always having girls posing in my shirts. He brought me out to Walnut Creek. I did a bunch of shows, and he got out of the booking business and just started working with models. And he got up to like 350 pounds, and he was in such bad shape.
Wow.
And he was always surrounded by the most beautiful girls. I purposely didn't send you any naked pictures.
Well,
But
that's fine by me.
You know, big, ugly, fake boobs, and that you could tell. You could tell how fake they are. You can almost see, where they were inserted. But that's from like 1985. That's pre-Stern, 1985.
You can see where they're inserted, but it looks fine.
She was adorable.
Now that woman right now, when that woman, I mean, that was 1985. So right now, that when she takes off her shoes, her toes start sweating from those things.
No. The cancer killed her years ago. I'm sure.
Really? Oh, that's fun. Oh my goodness. Hey, speaking of blondes, there's a very famous. By the way, Jackie, I got to tell you, I mean, I'm not. This is not in a gay way, but you look better now than you did when you were younger. Here, look at you here. You got this big head over there with her, and you look better now.
What can I tell you? She's beautiful. That was that. It was so funny. I got to be friends with Willie Nelson and smoke pot with him on the bus, and then I went to Austin to work with somebody, and I wanted to go to see Willie's show at the Brickyard. And I called my friend Lisa, who's the girlfriend of Felix Hanneman from Zebra, and said, would you see if Willie and them would put me on the list to come to the show at the Brickyard, because it was sold out. And she called me back and she said, well, they'd be glad to put you on the list if you'll do them a favor. I said, a favor for Willie Nelson? Are you kidding? And the favor they wanted me to do is I had to go to Luck, Texas, which is the town that Willie won in a card game. And it's an actual town. It's a tiny town, almost like a movie town, with a saloon and a church and a corral and a horse barn. And we cut a PSA for hepatitis C, the silent killer. Turned out that Willie's bass player, B. Spears, his beautiful wife, had been a wild child in San Francisco. And here it is 30 years later, and all of a sudden, hepatitis came on. That's called the silent killer. It can reside in you for decades and then pop out. So if you go to hepatitis C, PSA, Austin, it's like Willie Nelson and me and his daughter, a bunch of people. So I was in a PSA with Willie Nelson. That was my favorite to them, right? So we go and do this thing. So now I'm in tight with them with this hepatitis C. So they're having a big event in St. Louis because the biggest hepatitis C doctor in the world lives in St. Louis, and he loves Willie. So they're having a whole weekend thing where Willie's playing on Saturday, and there's a big party on Friday, and they flew me in first class, took care of me, and blah, blah, blah. Went to a big party at the bar and fooled around and had a great time all day Friday. And then Saturday night was the official event with the tuxedos and everything. And at the table was me and Willie's daughter, Willie's ex-wife, Connie, who is still a dear friend of mine, and her good friend, Morgan Fairchild. And that's from that night.
That's from that picture. Wow.
And we stayed friends. I ran into her a bunch of times in Los Angeles. We go to lunch.
She's cool.
Or whatever. She just, people think that she, from being on TV, that she was like
snobby and beautiful, and
a snobby, beautiful.
And she's not.
And meanwhile, she's a not down and dirty, but a kick-ass rock and roll chick from Texas.
Never
would the furthest thing from whoever she played. I didn't watch those soap oppers at night, but
I would never imagine. I never watched either.
Or whatever they were.
Me neither. Never watched any of that stuff.
She's just so cool and so fun, and she loved my dirty jokes, Which right away, you got a friend for life if you like my dirty jokes.
Of course. I have to give a quick shout out. I did a show last night for the guy, a 60th birthday. Yes, I'm bragging. I do birthday parties. And this is it last night. And he just put in the comments, say thank you. It was a great job last night in Red Bank. There you go. This guy, Nick Demoro, great guy.
Nick Demoro, I would love to send you a copy of my autobiography for your birthday present. If
He
you
would
somehow
love it. He would like this man.
Email me. Anybody can email me. Jokeland@AOL.com.
AOL.com. And this guy was a great. You see him. I don't know if you can see that picture really well, but right there, he's up there introducing me last night in front of this small group of his friends, and there was like he just loves humor, and his whole family's got a great sense of humor. They love to laugh. They're just fun people. And happy birthday to you, Nick, and wonderful, beautiful family. He has beautiful kids, beautiful wife, and great family. Just a lot of fun.
You know that place, the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank.
But that's where I was, next door to the Count Basie.
Really? Well, when they completely redid Carnegie Hall, they replaced all the seats in Carnegie Hall, and the seats that they were throwing out are now the seats in, well, this was 30 years ago, but the seats at the Red Bank Theater were from Carnegie Hall.
I didn't know that at all.
They were secondhand, but
I never played that place. I've been there and seen shows there, but I've never played it, and I really would like to play it. It's a beautiful theater, and they put a lot of money into it now. They redid it and everything, and now they changed it now because it used to be Count Basie Theater. And last night, I'm on the corner at this catering hall restaurant or whatever that has outside seating and everything, and I look out the window and I notice they changed the name, and it's like damn, I forget. It's like it's corporatized now. It's something else.
Like Harry's Bank Theater or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, I hate that shit too. Hey, let's get back to jokes. We're at the end here already, and here's the stoic Charlie Fisher.
There
he is. There he is.
And let's get back to a couple of jokes. We're at 56 minutes, 57 minutes already. I can't believe it. Well. Hey,
time goes fast when you're having fun.
No, I love it. I love hearing some of the stories and stuff as well. Very few people can brag about getting a hand job from their barber after their pubic hair was cut off. Then again, very few people cut their own hair. So that's.
I love you. I love your shit.
Any joke's a good joke. A man goes to a haircut, and the barber says, "Should I cut the hair in the back?" And the guy's, "Why don't you do it right here in the chair?"
All right, now you're pushing it.
I'm pushing it. Jackie, so what do you got coming up? Anything coming up?
I've been doing John Ferrantino's podcast on Friday mornings at 11:30. It's great. What I'm doing is telling a shitload of jokes, one after the other, 20, 25, 30 jokes, all borderline clean enough for the ships, sometimes stepping over the line.
Come on, you're always stepping over the line.
And John's Tom Drake is on the show, and his wife Dottie Colassa, and they book a bunch of.
Now I did a show last week in the morning. I think you probably recommended me. Ferrantino was on there and Tom Drake.
Yeah, that's it. The big broadcast.
Something cruising with or something like that.
It's called The Big Broadcast.
The Big Broadcast. Okay. Hey, that's a nice shot. Can I get a close up of that?
It's called The Big Broadcast, but they're cruisers. They're cruisers.
Yeah, and they were a lot of fun. And I hadn't seen John in 100 years since he moved away from Long Island. He said he wanted to pay less taxes, so he moved to Florida. So.
Well, he is a cheap. I know. I got a gig in a movie.
What's the movie called?
I can't believe I buried the lead, but I got a good part. It's kind of like a goof, but I play a Jewish James Bond.
A Jewish James Bond.
Yeah, I'm Agent 00695. So a guy is selling strawberries. The times are tough. So a guy's selling strawberries out of his car. He knocks on the door and the girl answers. He says, "Want to buy some strawberries?" She's coming around back. So he goes around back. He gets to the back door. The door's open. She's standing there stark naked. And he starts to cry. She says, Why are you crying? He says, yesterday, my wife left me for my best friend. Then today, completely got wiped out, all my life savings in the stock market. And I found out my son is living with another man. And now you're going to fuck me out of my strawberries.
Oh, it builds so nice down to negativity and then right back over to the end. I love it. Hey, on that note, Jackie, where do we see you? I know where we see you. At Joke Plan.
Twitter, every day at 4:20 at Jackie Martling. Most important, cameo.com.
Right there.
/Jackie Martling. I'm making money with that, John.
I know you're busy, and I know all these different things you do. People coming in, you'll tell them a joke, whether clean or dirty, whatever you want, right at cameo.com /Jackie Martling, right?
Yep. If you want me to say happy birthday, go to hell. I hate my mother-in-law, whatever you want. I don't know the last time I spoke to you, but I did a happy anniversary, happy 5-year anniversary for a gay couple.
Really?
I did
clean or dirty?
Please. And and 2 20-year-olds. The guy says, hey, my buddy Eddie is turning 20, and we're huge Stern fans, and you are our favorite. Please tell some jokes and tell him happy birthday. I thought for sure it was a bunch of 65-year-old guys that are like, look at Jackie's going to think that 20-year-olds are listening to him.
Right.
I did it, and I got an email from the kids saying he couldn't believe how great it was and how big fans they are.
Millennials have a good sense of humor. Sure, a lot of people.
But
not everyone listen.
That means they were born after I left the show.
That's right.
Not after I was off the show. They were born after, but they people are home with nothing to do, and they have hours and hours and hours to listen to all the old shit, and they're enjoying it, So,
hey, this is humor is like our bodies. It gets bigger and smaller and contractions get small, but we do the best we can. We always
here's a trivia question for you. How birds fly south for the winter?
Of course.
How come one side of the V, they fly in a V?
Yeah.
How come one side of the V is always longer than the other?
I've never noticed, but why?
There's more birds.
On that note, I'll see you next week, and we get you where? Cameo.com /Jackie DeMartling. You guys can see me over here at johnpz.com and jpzent.com. And Jackie, you stay well and healthy.
And anybody wants to ask anything, jokeland@aol.com. I answer every email, jokeland@aol.com. I get a real kick out of it. It's always fun.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jackie. Stay well and healthy. Charlie, you too.
See you, Charlie.
See ya.
See you guys next week. Ciao for now.
And I'm thinking about you.
Now I know.